bring up, actually I'm going to bring up both of them. I'll bring this one up, and I'm going to bring up the contrast as well. And if I go back in here, you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. Now what I want to do is I got to get a little gloss going across here, and I can use my pen tool, I can use the brush, I can use really whatever I want, but I'm going to use the pen tool because it's just faster and easier for me. You can use the other one as well, but I'm going to go in here and I want to run this thing, and I'm going to make a nice contour around here. So this is my shine contour, and you'll see why I use the pen tool in a second, because I can control, and I'm going to follow the actual bumps roughly of this image. And wherever you put this contour is totally up to you. The nice thing about having a pen tool is that I can adjust it if I don't really like it. And this is relatively flat, so I'm going to maybe, oops, run this right across like so, and maybe kind of bump that over there like that, and then I'm gonna kind of just chunk it out like this. This actually becomes my selection. So, well, there's a couple different ways to do this. This becomes my selection. I can actually go in here and turn the selection on, and then I can turn this guy off, and I can go back to this layer, and then I can add a layer mask, and then I can fill it like so. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually fill this entire layer first. So I'm filling the whole thing and masking everything off. Going to make a selection from that guy. Then I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to, did I go away? Slowly, I kind of hide this just so you can see. Slowly paint this back in. There's my highlights. Bring up the opacity and bring up that. And depending what you want to do, so you could do it this way, and then I can go back here and I can actually bring up my brightness, and you'll see what's happening. You get this super hardcore gloss. You may or may not want that. You can bring the contrast down, you bring the contrast up, which will adjust how this kind of behaves. You can also actually, so you can, there's that way to do it. You can also use the actual mask itself, and then you can maybe actually change this one to white. So now you got that going on. The strange thing about this is that you can actually turn this to, like, you can bring the fill down. I can add a mask to this guy. So there's a couple different ways to do it. I'm going to fill that with black, and then I'm going to go back to this mask, and again, and you'll see this way you really get a harsh, light, and there's a lot more adjustments. So there's another way to highlight it. I prefer actually using the hue saturation or the brightness contrast, because it allows more of this stuff to show through, so then you can actually adjust the contrast values and everything else. Two different ways to do it. So I'm going to go back here and I'm just going to kind of fix this. Oops, fix this a little bit. I'm just going to back off this highlight just a bit, just so it's there. And you can add as many of these things as you want. Then what actually we're going to do is we're going to save this guy, and we're going to kind of set this stuff up in Illustrator, and I want to show you kind of how and why we set it up in Illustrator in a second. And I could do this whole ad and then get it all finished and then place in Illustrator, but there's a couple key concepts I want to explain. So tune in next time, and we'll come back and place this in Illustrator and then finish this guy up. Thanks.